Thank goodness a baked potato is safe. Yep. Some silver. I mean, it's not necessarily the worst thing. No more backpack. No more jetpack. I've got oodles of silver, so I don't need much of this. I'll grab a stack or two. If I always grab a stack or two of everything I see when I come out, that's how I never need more. Eventually, I'll have plenty of everything, and it'll be grand. And everything will be happy. The cats will love the dogs, and the pigeons, the peacocks will be singing beautiful songs. Even the pheasants will be less stupid. Everyone knows that moon pheasants are not as dumb as earth pheasants, though. It is known. Silicon we don't need more of, but again, if I mine up a stack or two every time I come out, then I'm never going to need more of it. Like, I'm never going to be in a position where I'm like, I'm going to have to go out specifically to mine this right now. Though, with the way the veins are with the new terrain update, mining anything can become a very long task. Like, you can I'm just popping out. I'm just gonna grab these couple of ore rocks, and it's like, oh, okay, I've mined out half the moon, and it's just one vein. It's kind of like when someone playing 7 Days to Die goes mining for the first time. They're like, oh, I'm gonna mine this little bit of something. Like, right, yeah, of course you. I'll see you in 5 days. We're still moving in roughly the right direction. Chat, how many of you are currently playing Stationeers or have gotten back into it recently? I've seen a lot of comments on the VODs that are going up on Aavak After Hours, and the quite a few people talking about it on Discord too. It's always pleasing to think that I'm doing a good enough job of showcasing how awesome the game is that it gets a bunch of people interested in playing it again. If not for the first time. Currently trying to get my IC10 solar controller running. That is definitely one thing that I will say about the moon, that as much as I feel that Mars is easier because you have an atmosphere and all of the glorious things that come with it, and a very gentle atmosphere too. The moon's solar tracking is fantastically easy. Just 2 logic chips, boom, there you go. Perfect solar tracking every day, forever. There are definitely things on the moon that are easier. Obviously, it used to be that the lack of storms was inherently easier on the moon. That not as much anymore, but still. Gold, we get far less from each ore nugget, so we'll be out here a bit longer. Also, chat, I failed. I failed again to start my timer for the tea breaks. Ah, what a fool am I. How long have we been playing? Not including the preamble. Would you say about an hour? About a half-hour preamble today, I think it was. It wasn't a long one. Practically a preamble speed run for me. Start my timer. About an hour. Okay, that's good enough for me. We've got about an hour to go. Right, there we are. Okay, can I get out of here without needing my jetpack? Probably not. So let's briefly flip the jetpack on. And flip back. I got some iron there. I believe there was lead and or nickel up on this ridge of this crater. Bro Jasper, thank you very much for the 56 months, mate. That is a huge amount of time to be supporting the channel. It is enormously appreciated. We don't need copper, but again, if I walk past it, then we will eventually need it. I should have picked up some iron too. I don't know what it is about this current bit of music, but it is giving me... it's just tickling the inside of my brain box. And it's making me think of some of the atmospheric EVE Online tracks. Again, more or less 2 stacks is good enough for me. Oot, I just had the wrong hash value. Works great now. Oh, fantastic. Very glad that you got your IC10 working. Also, good to hear you're working with the hashes. I don't know why, but it makes me happy when people... people aren't afraid of digging into IC10 coding. Oh yeah, grab some iron while we're here. Having a mining backpack really does help, I think. Not having a jump pack is a little scary, but on the new terrain, much less so than normal, because like on the old terrain, just random falls were pretty common, especially when navigating in the dark. But now, not so much. You know what? A 3rd stack of iron isn't a terrible thing, considering how frequently iron is a component in alloys and just in and of itself. Well, that's good enough. Bunny hop for the win. Wasted, hello mate, welcome on in. Chat, I was over in Wasted's stream before I finished my admin and VOD editing work and got to stream it myself. Wasted is doing a fantabulous things on the moon. Big kabloomy things. Kapowy things, some might say. Not quite DACA, but if viewed from a certain angle, definitely DACA coded. Which is especially fitting for Wasted. Alright, let's get a shout out for Wasted. There we go. If you're not already following my good friend Wasted Space, then please do avail yourself of that link at the top of chat. Drop them a follow. They can be found right now, firmly in the grips of the toothy maw of the Stationeers bug. Very toothy. Very maw. Strong DACA adjacent vibe. Yeah, yeah. Exploding furnaces and exploding non-furnaces. Sometimes the explosion isn't even because of explosion. Sometimes the explosion is just because of pressure. Stealth explosion. Probably purple. But I'm so glad that you're enjoying this. So very glad. What did you get up to towards the end of your stream? Wasted, tell us a little bit about your base. Share the story of your triumph. Sometimes the explosion is because more O2 is always good, right? Yeah, always good. Especially in the presence of volatiles. Revenge was saying, IC10 isn't much different from what I do, what a lot of programming games do, like human resource machine. That's because the MIPS language is basically assembly, and assembly is very easy to make an in-game compiler for. Go figure. So yeah, a lot of games have IC10-like code. Very few games go the full hog of giving a more modern language. Just because it's a little bit more complicated to write a compiler for it within the script. Oh, bugger. Don't mind the fact that the sun is on fire. It's fine. I'm not fine. I'm especially on fire right now. I have to run home. Ah! Stupid solar storms while I'm out mining, far away from base. I need to get to the shade of that crater before I can get to... Oh my goodness, why did this happen? It doesn't usually look like this, Chad. I'm on the beta branch, and the sun is especially spicy today. Could I just dig a hole to hide in? I could. But I don't want to spend half a day hiding in a hole. Okay, thank God for the eclipse. Beta is amazing, to be fair. Oh, this caught me so off guard, Wasted. Are you playing on beta or are you playing on stable right now? But the solar storms caught me so off guard. The sun is a very deadly laser, yep. So solar storms are not unique to the moon, interestingly. It has differing effects, obviously. A place with atmosphere is both better and worse with a solar storm, because obviously the solar storm will heat the atmosphere and will... but it will have less of an effect on your solar panels. I can barely see anything. My walls are white. Terrible color for a solar storm. Oh, my lord. Good God. So, that was unpleasant. Is the solar thing a coming vanilla thing or a mod? Okay, so let me just quickly pause. This is absolutely a coming vanilla thing. It's probably going to go through a couple more iterations whilst in beta, but can your base melt? Your walls, well, no, the solar storm is never that hot. It could potentially make your internal atmosphere, if you've got windows and not enough cooling, too hot for you or your plants, but I mean, I guess if you were already close enough. I mean, it does. Okay, so is that how you pause? God damn, yeah, yes, you can pause from in here. Oh, poor Wasted. Did your chat not tell you? Yeah, you can just go in here into the station PD and you can hit pause there. You can also do it while you're coding. In IC10, it has a similar pause button in that as well. So, solar storms on the moon, there's no atmosphere to shield you from them. So it's pouring a lot of solar energy into anything that can accept it. That means your suit environment, that means your base environment. So the reason why I ran to get back, I'm in a spacesuit. I'm not going to die out there, but I'm burning through my oxygen way faster because my suit is way hotter than normal. So it's having to replace the hot oxygen with the cool oxygen from my tank much, much more aggressively. Also, anything that I have that has a gas in it that isn't in an insulated tank, that gas is increasing in pressure very quickly. So, there's a lot of reasons not to just be outside in a solar storm, but much like Vulcan or even Mercury, you can. You just, it's going to cost you, in having to go back and switch out your waste tank sooner, so on and so forth. However, when the sun is especially spicy, your solar panels, both good and bad, on the moon, 400% efficient. Now, I only had 3 solar panels at the time that the harm suit has liquid cooling. In the harm suit, you're actually way safer. But that's further down the line. But so quite often, if you've just got a few solar panels, you'll be running your initial setup on just basic cabling because you're never expecting very much power coming through. Funnily enough, 3 solar panels, when each of them is pulling 4 times as much power, quite enough to burn out basic cables. That was a lesson learned. Thankfully, the rest of my base was already hooked up with APCs and stuff, so I didn't lose power to anything, but I didn't notice either for a little while. And it wasn't until I was like, that battery's not charging. Why is that? Then I was like, oh, I see. There's some damage from that storm, because it doesn't damage solar panels in the way a dust storm would, because I initially checked the solar panels. To be perfectly honest, when it first happened, they hadn't done a very good job of signposting that had been added into the beta branch. So I honestly thought, because I'm running a lighting mod, that was a consequence of the mod, and this was now my forever base. Just burning my eyes bright out there. It's not, but yeah, for a little bit I was deeply concerned. How hot are you? I should probably check that quickly. Don't. Because you were in full view of the sun. You've warmed up a little bit, but that's not a problem because I'm trying to cool you down. Yeah, the lighting mod is amazing. The global illumination, honestly, is so great. Right now, it's not as beautiful because everything is ultra saturated because of the sun. But yeah, so I thought it was a bug. I spent 30 minutes trying to debug, trying to work out, do I have to get rid of the mod? I really don't want to. Is there a way for me to fix this? But ultimately, I was very lucky because I'd saved just before dusk. And so when I started, the world was fine. It was only the next dawn that the world was on fire. And so that kind of clued me in. I was like, well, if it was the mod, why, A, does it not go away when I disable the mod? And B, why does it start off okay and then just get worse on the next dawn? Right. But yeah, we're going to be sat inside until midday. However, that does give me the opportunity to just look at that. Just a little bit of light scattering off the ores. I mean, it's the mod isn't perfect. It's getting light from places it probably shouldn't. Still, I really do like it. Also, Wasted, I have you to thank for putting my tool belt on my suit. I'd been thinking about using that for my backpack so I could easily swap between my mining and my regular backpack. But it hadn't, for some reason, hadn't even occurred to me to put my tool belt on there. Even though I very clearly have two distinct tool belts, my mining and my regular tool belt. And I noticed you doing that on the stream earlier. I was like, what? Wizardry. There we go. I'll just drop these off here since I can. Let's pop the light back on in here. Kind of a messy deposit, but it's fine. I'll do all my smelting at night. Yep, you can build shutters for your windows, yeah. And you can build windows that have shutters in them that can be programmatically controlled as well. If you want to go to that. I've got a cooling solution for my moon base already. I've just got, right now it's just basically an AC with its output pipe is connected to a slightly pressurized, let me quickly switch over, a slightly pressurized pipe of nitrogen, because realistically speaking, the moon isn't cold enough. The vacuum of space is not cold enough, and just like that, it's over, to really cool nitrogen to the point where it's going to freeze. It can almost get there, but unless you're doing nothing with that nitrogen for an extended amount of time, it's never going to freeze in the pipe. It won't liquefy, it won't freeze. Honestly, having some radiators on it, you might think, oh, well, that'll definitely make it more likely to freeze. No, it makes it more likely not to. Because that tiny bit of day where the sun is shining on the radiators adds solar energy to the nitrogen in the pipe. And that is enough to prevent it from ever freezing. Even just standing still and not getting any extra heat from the base. But that is literally what I've got it for, is to pop heat into it from the base. Oh man, I want temp-based auto shutters now. Close up when the storms come. Sounds awesome. Oh yeah, you absolutely can. You absolutely can. It's very fun to set that kind of thing up. Alright, what we're looking for right now is lead. That is coal. That is not lead. Of course I'm thirsty. I've stood outside in a solar storm. But no drink until lead. And I can have leaded water. I'm sure it'll be good for me. Actually, you know what? I just realized that's like... God damn, the world is a messed up place when I can't make a silly joke like that without actually touching on a real world problem that people are having to deal with. And I just remembered the flint. It's like, oh, wait. That's insensitive. The point where you can't joke about putting lead in your water without actually it being a little bit too close to problems that people are legitimately having to deal with. It's like, oh my god. What is this world? I mean, lead is a mineral, so it has to get your daily minerals, no? Oh, yeah. Yeah, fair. I mean, I was going to go the initial idea of the joke was to take it in the direction of it was probably touted as healthy for your baby in like the 1920s or something, but to have a good strong child with hair on his chest, make sure that the mother is getting her daily recommended amount of lead in her water. Research says it's good for you. Paid for by Big Lead. Yeah, lead is an element, but 1920 was radioactive water. Get it right, Aavak. Ah, yes, that's fair. That's fair. Cigarettes and plutonium. Just what a growing child needs. Oh, poor Andy, I'm sorry about that. I didn't notice you asking for permission. Let me just permit you. Let me type your name correctly too. That probably helps. There you go. But yeah, those links you were posting, very, very solid links. I tend not to use stuff like that myself, but I know that people really, really get a lot out of them. Especially like stuff that will simulate like IC10. Okay, I think that's enough lead for us. Time for us to get back out. Whoop. We're trying to make some of the alloys at the moment, as I would very much like to... Ooh, cobalt. No, no. I am going to upgrade my tool printers. Well, my printers, including the tool printer, with a view to setting up an atmospherics room. It's still relatively low tech because this is our starter base, and I don't want to, you know, make it high tech, because then the odds of me making it my forever base increase dramatically. Now, though, that we are in a slightly better position, this is our base. For the raiders who joined, again, thank you very much for coming along on the raid. This is our little cubby hole. Got some plants growing in there. It's air conditioned. At this point, this will be getting quite a lot cooler. I will quickly swap out my backpack so I can just check this. Gotta make sure I'm using the right one. Yeah, this is down to negative 61, which is very far away from where we need to worry. This is where I fill up my O2, where I crush my water ice. It's got an O2 nitrogen atmosphere with a bit of CO2 that I'm bringing in every now and then. A big part of the current project to build atmospherics over here is so that I've got an automated way of injecting a little bit of CO2 to make sure the plants are doing okay. Because right now they are vastly outbreathing me. 2 plants will ever so slightly, by the thinnest margins, consume more CO2 than I breathe out and produce more O2 than I breathe out. But 2, by themselves, will be enough to keep you alive. However, I've got 9. So as you can imagine, my respiration, not enough to sustain their respiration. Actually, I'll leave that open. There's no real reason to close it. Okay. Okay. I'm probably going to be putting more CO2 into that before I do anything else. Waste of space. Yeah, I learned that I should have planned for that today. Yeah. Yeah, it's very easy to overplant. Very easy. That's what this little setup over here is. Literally filtering out the CO2. And then I take that canister in there and empty it. after I cool it down a little bit with I put a radiator on there to pull that temperature down, take it off quickly because it really sinks the temperature fast. I will perhaps demonstrate that for you. That keeps the pressure from ever getting too high for the canister. This empties out this extra... this is the waste gas from the filters so that I'm not just pumping it back into the area that the filtration is having to work through. Alright, let's quickly divest myself of
hydration
all
critical.
of this. We'll go have a quick slurp of some water, and we'll come back out and deal with all of the smelting all at once. But I've got big plans. Whether we can get even remotely close to it today, I do not know. This fills up nice and fast now, thanks to having a dedicated gas supply. Let's just have a quick check that that is not struggling with pressure. It's gone up a little bit, but nothing too much. Oh, it had a little bit. Why are there pollutants in there? What the heck happened here? Well, that's why we want to build a scrubber in here anyway, but... Helmet off. Suit off. Battery in the charger. Sit down for a second. Let's have a quick munch. Cold baked potato. Mmm, so yummy. So delicious. Very happy. Right, want that to empty out. Because I am going to quickly cycle. Yeah, we used so much waste gas. That usually is like 1 megapascal, if that, by the time we come back after a day or two of being out. But we had to pump so much oxygen into our suit environment just to keep us cool. That's true. Cold baked potato is 100% more tasty than no potato. Very true. How easy would you say it is to get into Stationeers? As a complete novice with these games. When you say these games, do you mean survival crafters as a whole? Or just like the more tech-focused survival crafters? Like, are you a complete novice to survival crafters? 3 ferrets in a trench coat? Also, I always loved your name. Okay. Keep that to make sure that this never overpressurizes. Wasted said, I must head off, sir. I played far too long. Have a great stream and good luck with progress. Thank you so much, mate. Again, thank you ever so much for the raid. It was incredibly kind of you. And one final shout out for the road. There you go. Chat, if you missed the earlier link, please go ahead and click on it now. Wasted is a fantastic content creator, a good friend of mine and the channel's. Do please drop by their house from time to time, where you will find such great games as Stationeers, Space Engineers, lots of games that give you plenty to chew on mentally. That's probably... it's getting up to crashing now. Never really played survival crafters. Okay. in that case, I wouldn't say that Stationeers is difficult, but you can fall into the trap of making it harder than it needs to be. There's lots of things that I do, for example, with like coding and setting up chips for automation, like the lights here. I've wired them all up and used code to read the state of the switch and apply it to all my lights. You don't need to do that. Hell, you don't even need to place down the lights if you don't want to. You can achieve more or less anything through the good old brute force method. One thing I will say is that this game, you know, in terms of its control scheme, is non-standard. It's very non-standard. If you played anything like Space Station 13, I'm going to come on touch on that. You will be a little bit more familiar with the control scheme in that your hands are independent. My left hand, my right hand, I can hold one thing in each, or a stack of the same thing in each. Interacting with your backpack, your suit pockets, your tool belt, you have to switch which hand you're using. That is non-standard enough that can be a tripping point for some people, but you get very used to it very quickly. It's just the same getting used to different controls. But in terms of like the complexity in the game, I don't feel that anything in here is overtly complex. You can approach problems in a more complicated way. That is very rewarding. From my perspective, I enjoy the automation side of stuff, coding and creating like circuit logic. That's very rewarding for me personally. But you don't need to do it. You can just play it like a survival crafter, go out, mine the stuff that you need, make the stuff that you want out of that stuff, and, you know, progress down the tech tree. Wasted said, "You're a gentleman. Good night, sir, and later, everyone. Take care, Wasted. You have a fantastic sleep, mate." Deanwork says, 3 friends and trench coat. I'd say consider this to be something like first-person oxygen not included to get a sense of what's really involved in playing it. 3 friends and trench coat said, "Well, I'll love it then. But death is a common friend." Yeah, no, and that's fine. Losing is fun. Every time you die, you learn what to avoid for next time. Well, generally. Right. We are fed, we are watered. It is daybreak. We're going to turn our suit back on. I'm going to have to grab another filter for it before too long. Don't need that light on. Everything in here is looking good. Let me quickly check the environment. Yeah, 11.2 moles of CO2 is perfectly fine. And there we go. All right then. Having some shutters so that I could deal with ices would be a bit of a good idea, I think. It's fine. Okay, so we are wanting to make the alloys. Specifically, we want Constantan, solder, and electrum. We do not require Invar. If I want to, I could. If I want to, I could. I'm probably just going to smelt all of the ores so that they all off-gas. Then I can deal with the pressures and the temperatures, which are much more finicky for alloys individually. But how much? Let's organize some things. If I wanted some Invar, that is iron and nickel. That will get me 100 Invar. I want solder. It's iron and lead. That will get me my solder. I want electrum. That's gold and silver. I've already got enough for that, but I can just use fresh ores. And if I want constantan, that's copper and nickel. And that does not require that I dig into any of my other resources to get. Got a little bit of solder down there as well. Okay, we're going to do a big old smelt. This should last us for a while, I would think. So, we've already got 4.79 megapascals in there. Very cold, though. We've got 31 moles of oxygen, which means 2 units, 3 units of volatiles would interact with that. So I don't need to add any oxygen right now. Oxygen is going to come out of these. In fact, that's actually something that I should check out. If I have a look at the ores, I'm going to want to pay attention to which ones to put in when. Cobalt is one of the main ones to get volatiles. Nickel, carbon, pollutant, nitrogen. Silicon is carbon, pollutant, nitrogen. A lot of them are going to basically just be there. Lead is nitrous oxide, so that's an oxidizer. Gold is oxygen. Silver is nitrous oxide. Copper. Iron. You can run coal through it if you want to. I'll add carbon dioxide and pollutants. Now, the thing you can do is, if you want pollutants, 35 moles of pollutants for running uranium through the furnace. Cobalt is the only one that gives you volatiles. The only one that we're going to need to worry about, I think. Yeah, charcoal doesn't. It's carbon dioxide and pollutants. There's various dirty ores. I don't think they ever off gas. Reagent mix will almost always not off gas because it's already been processed. But biomass produces a wallop load of volatiles. I don't know why there's 2 of these. And you've got the pure ices down there. But yeah, I don't know why that other than ores. But biomass and cobalt are the only 2 things that'll ever off gas volatiles. But it is entirely possible for you to, if you've got no ices on your planet whatsoever, for any reason, get yourself a stack of cobalt and some silver. As long as you've got some heat available, which you can get from the sun with the right timings, or just a pipe heater if you're just running off solar power. Just a little bit of atmosphere, whatever atmosphere you can gather, maybe something from plants. But if you're on any planet, generally you'll have atmosphere. On the moon, you'd have to get it through plants somehow. But yeah, you just run some, you just get enough heat in the furnace through like a pipe heater, heating up whatever gases you've got in there. And then just run some cobalt and some silver or gold just to get an oxidizer and hydrogen in there. And boom, there you go. And I love that about the game. I love that that is a thing you can do. But right, we require... First to close that. Secondly, I guess having this on my backpack. Well... There we go. Just going to leave that there for now. Right, what did I say? I think it was 3 would be enough with the current O2 in there to get a bit of heat into the system. It's not going to be enough for us to smelt, but that will consume the O2 in there. Actually, no, we needed more. My bad. Okay. So that's showing us the color of the burn is telling me how much of what is there, whether it's volatiles or whether it's oxygen. That's we got 152 nitrous in there, of course. Of course. We've got a stupendous amount of potential. Okay, well, I'm gonna quickly smelt all of this. Bump. Bump. That was very silly of me. That's going to prevent this ever getting too spicy. Okay, now it's starting to burn a bit differently. Temperature's really coming down now. Put that down here. Nickel, which is the lower temperature. What temperature does nickel need? Oh, I'm going to need the ores. Sorry, ingots. And it's 500. We've already passed that one. Gold only requires 300, though. Obviously, lead. Very, very low temperature required. Copper requires 327. Iron 500. Silicon requires 600. Silver requires 327. Well, we'll go through the lead first. Come back. And these ones specifically need to be smelted in the correct amounts. Yeah. Gold next. We don't want everything burning down around us? No. Surprisingly, I know, but it's true. What was the nickel again? That was kind of high, actually. Okay. Well, it's a temp now. Maybe we can do the silver. Actually, leave that there for now. I've got a tiny bit of gold. A little bit of silver. So we're really eking out the most we can from the current buildup of temperature in there. What's the temperature? It's currently 406. We can get the copper done. Do ores always give you the same amount of materials when smelted? 1 gram of ore gives 1 gram of metal. Very, very untrue to life. But every ore that you mine manually will also contain a lot of gas. So you're not going to deal with slag, which in real life, an enormous quantity of what you get out of the rock is going to be slag, not actual metal. But when it comes to like ores that you mine manually, they do have extra components. It's not just the ingot you're going to get back. You will also get gases out of it. Gases that are mined by automated means, like the deep drill or the rocket miners, they don't have the gases in them. Right, with that done, all that remains are the more tricky ones to do. So nickel needing 527, iron needing 527, and silicon needing 627. So we want to get the silicon through it first, then do the iron, then do the nickel, I would say, more or less in that order. So with that in mind, let me have a quick look. Have we got an well, we've got an excess of we've got N2O in it. Yeah, I don't need any oxides for what we're doing today. Let's just go with 3 for now. There we go. Plenty hot for the silicon. I want it to all be a single mass. Also, this is almost certainly venting. You look up there, chimney is releasing excess pressure. I could allow it to go higher, but I'm in no great rush to do that. Right. 1 stack of nickel. Wait for that to process fully. Another stack of nickel, please. One stack of iron. I love how the color changes based on the composition of the gases inside. We've just got enough. All I needed. Right. Now then. We're currently at 30 kilopascals of pressure. We obviously don't want that for any of the alloys. Invar at most 20. 2.4. 100 megapascals for solder, so we can easily do that one. 100 megapascals for constant temp. Solder, however, requires a very low temperature, so it should be the last one that we do. Constantan requires 727 Celsius or 1 kilokelvin. Electrum. Actually, is that a specific range? No, that's fine. That was fine. We can do Electrum third, I think. Invar requires the hottest by far. So Invar, Constantan. Invar wants it to be at a very specific pressure, and that is just over 20 megapascals. This needs it 20 megapascals or hotter, or higher. So we do Constantan first, switch down to Invar by dropping the pressure, then switch over to Electrum, then solder. Once it's all cooled, and cooling is going to be a bit of a pain in the bum, but we can do it. You know what? We will achieve that by... Where do we want to put this? I'm putting that there so I can affix a pipe radiator so I can rapidly cool. Okay, so we're already a little bit too high in pressure. I need to vent some of this pressure no matter what. But I can first bring it up to a really nice intense heat. Got so much CO2 in there I want. Okay. Actually, I think we need to vent some of the pressure first, because this is going to be an issue for me to get that much heat in there. So let's adjust that down. And, well, you know what? I can quickly degas all of the hydrocarbons. It's going to pull the temperature down quite a lot, but that's fine. Even more CO2 to waste. I'm degassing the coal so that later on when I want to make a steel smelt, again, I don't have to worry about there being gases locked in there. In the ores. Haven't processed these ores, so they're just going to have to wait. Alright. Let's just quickly have a look at what's being said in chat. Thought experiment question. How would taking or donating... Let me quickly scroll that up. Just scrolled off my screen. How would taking or donating blood change in zero gravity or low G? Would a closed system still have the same effect, or would the tubes and equipment be affected by the low gravity? That's an interesting thought experiment, but... I don't think it would really have any effect. You're like, in many cases, blood drawing is not. They're not like. I mean, I guess sometimes they are, like with the, certain like, dialysis machines and stuff like that. But like, if you're just taking blood, once they, like, when you're all hooked up to the plasma bag and all of that, that's a completely sealed system, and it's just more or less relying on your heart to pump the blood into it. It's effectively a vacuum sealed receptacle that's got some plasma in there and other things to keep the blood viable and stop it from coagulating. So taking blood, certainly, I don't think would be affected in any major way. That said, I'm not entirely sure, but if anything, in zero G, your body maintains an even better equilibrium with blood supply. That's why your legs shrink and the rest of you kind of puffs out. But giving, I really don't know. That one I don't know enough about to offer any kind of real answer to, I'm afraid. But I can't imagine it would be a problem for drawing blood. Now then, I would like very much for you to drop this pressure down to 19.5. Dunk. Actually, that's not going to work, is it? 19,500. 19.5 will just evacuate the entire thing. Doing quite well. Would love to see a zero G medical documentary. Yeah, kind of. Would be quite cool. Champ Doom, thank you very much for the 8 months. Diolch yn fawr iawn. How are you doing, mate? Okay. Right. Now it's time for us to add some volatiles back into the system. Now, how much we got in there? Again, actually, I don't even need to use that to check. You know what? Since there's only 2 devices I currently need out of this suit, I'll just do that. That way I can keep this with me. Let's pop in 3 again. No, let's pop in 4. That should give me enough temperature, I think. We will see. Actually, might not be able to. What was it we were looking for? Constantine was 727, but Invar was 927. Well, we already got the Constantine. I'm going to have to add a little bit more in for the Invar, sadly. Constantine, copper and nickel, even. These are completely off-gassed, so they're not going to be introducing any extra temperature into the system. Or shouldn't be. Hang on a sec. Why is that not able to... what have I done wrong here? Copper and nickel. Pressure... Oh, god damn it. Of course, I need that to be at least 20, so 21. My bad. That's what it is. Yeah, that dropped. Well, that's okay. I wanted some more heat in there anyway. There we go. We got the Constantine. Thank you. Right. Got plenty of heat there now for the Invar. Sorry, I'm making a bit of a pig's ear of this. I do apologize. We want to drop this down
critical.
to 19. And we want iron and nickel. There we go. This will produce us a chunky bit of Invar. Come here. Right, next on the docket was Electrum, which needs 2.4 megapascals. That's fine. Well, actually, no, we're going to have to drop it quite a lot. And would be fine at the temperatures that we've got. Oh, well, no, we're going to have to cool the whole system, but it would be fine for the solder as well, because solder needs to be quite low temperature, though it's got a much larger pressure range. Electrum has a very narrow pressure range, and again, though, reasonably high temperature, so we should be okay to do this. Right now, I'm not going to vent that. What I want to do is to pull out the delicious CO2.